As you may know, I released a video. I am going to explain to you how I was able to pull off this incredible speedrun. This Disneyland speedrun that I didn't even know was possible before doing this. I was shooting for, I'm gonna be straight up with you. The video is set up as if like I'm shooting for under 9 hours. I was shooting for under 10 hours. I wasn't even trying to shoot for under 9 hours, but I somehow ended up getting under 9 hours, and we're gonna explain exactly how that happened. It was an emotional roller coaster. There were like a couple parts of the speedrun where I genuinely thought it was over. Okay, before we actually get into into watching the video, I want to explain to you some background information that I already knew coming into this day. I knew that there were gonna be some rides that were not gonna be open. Those rides are Space Mountain, the Disneyland Railroad, Splash Mountain, the canoes, Winnie the Pooh, the monorail, and Sailing Ship Columbia. Now, I actually didn't even know that Sailing Ship Columbia was going to be closed down until like 3 days before the speedrun. So that was a little bit of a panic that I had like last minute when I was looking into all of it, but it's okay. It actually kind of helped out. I knew that this had potential to be a really good speedrun because all these rides were going to be closed. There are certain rides that are just difficult to really fit into a speedrun, and those rides are like the railroad and even like I would say Sailing Ship Columbia, because you have to do them at very specific times or else you're kind of screwing yourself over. Also, another thing that I knew about this date, August 14th, 2024, is that summer vacation is basically over. This was the first week that kids in the Orange County and LA County areas were back in school. But also, right before a new season starts, there's not a whole lot of people going because the Magic Key holders, the people who are like local, don't want to actually go to Disneyland, but they want to wait until the new season starts. We observe it every single year with like the Halloween season. It gets like kind of dead late August, but then early September it like spikes up because everyone's going because Oogie Boogie Bash or whatever just started. And this was the first time that Pixar Fest had just ended, and so I was going in thinking, all right, we got this. We're going to beat the Halloween crowd and not get like the crazy Pixar Fest crowd. We'll see how well that actually turned out to be. But anyways, I think finally we're gonna start this video. This is a 37-minute long video. I want a rematch.
Okay, I've been planning for months, but I think I have unlocked the secret to ride all 29 rides at Disneyland.
So, okay, I had a plan. And this was actually something that I went in knowing before going in and actually doing this. I had a plan. I wanted to divide Disneyland into a few different sections and go from section by section. This plan made it a little bit easier in my head because like there are times where I feel like I need to be like jumping around the entire park, but this was a way for me to be like, okay, we're gonna focus on this area of the park, like the middle section, then we'll go on to like the left section and then the right section, so I'm not like completely running frantically around the park, because that's kind of what I did in the first speedrun. I need to ride 8 of these small kid rides in 1 hour before moving on to phase 2 of the plan. Speedrun. Okay, so it is 8 a.m. and we are starting the speedrun. You may be wondering, and I've actually gotten a few people questioning this in the comments, why did I not use early entry? I did early entry in the last 2 speedruns. Why did I not do it in this one? And the reason is it honestly, it's expensive. It's really expensive to get early entry. You have to buy a night at one of the hotels, and the hotels, like minimum price for one night at the hotel is like $400. $300 if you're lucky. Like you will be lucky if you get one night at a hotel for $300. I really felt strongly that I could actually do a better speedrun without having early entry, because Disney changed their rules so that early entry is not every single day at both parks anymore. It switches off between days. I think Disneyland is like Tuesday and Thursday and Saturday, and then all the other days is California Adventure. This day was a Wednesday. It was a day when at Disneyland they did not have early entry. They had it at California Adventure, so it made it so that I was going into Fantasyland when no one was there. Like there's no early entry people to compete. This is my rope drop position. I was like right down there is like where the rope is. I couldn't have asked for a better rope drop position. I was like on it. I made sure to get there early so that I could be the very first person. So this video that you're seeing on screen is basically it's basically the entire speedrun but synced. Look, okay, this is the front of the line right here. I'm like maybe 11 people max are ahead of me, but that right there is the line leader. That cast member that you see right there who's walking like kind of slowly is the line leader, and line leaders are cast members who are always going to be the first person at the front of the ride. You're never going to beat the line leader. If you pass the line leader, then they're going to kick you out of the line. Like you have to be behind the line leader. Before, I knew that this was something that existed. I've experienced this a few times because I've rope dropped a lot of times, but I didn't realize that this was actually something that was going to be happening today at Peter Pan, because this kind of set me back just a little bit, because I was expecting to not really wait like any more than 3 minutes, and we waited like 6 minutes.
Overall, it's a fun ride. I just wish I didn't have to wait 6 whole minutes for it, because now we just have 50 minutes to do 7 more rides.
Okay, so my next ride was going to be Alice in Wonderland, obviously, because Alice in Wonderland is like the second busiest ride. I checked the wait time of Alice in Wonderland like right before I got off Peter Pan. The wait time said 5 minutes. But it totally lied, because as we're about to find out,
Oh my god.
this is not a 5-minute wait.
What you like to see.
This is like 15 minutes at least. I wasn't ready to wait in this wait because, again, we're trying to get like 7 more rides done within an hour. So I knew that if something like this happened, I would just have to leave it and find a different ride to do. So that's exactly what I did.
I'm almost considering not going on it. That's gonna be like 15 minutes, dude. I don't think it's worth it. Okay, screw it. Storybook, I don't know where Storybook is in
So
its
yeah, I was
rotation.
trying to check on like rides like Dumbo and Storybook, because those are rides that go on rotations rather than being like instant walk-on rides. So I wanted to make sure that like, okay, where's the rotation of Storybook right now? Where's the rotation of Dumbo? Because if I see the boat pull up or if I see the Dumbos go down, I need to immediately get in line, because then I'm waiting like the absolute minimum possible.
Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, because it's the only ride in the area that's a walk-on right now.
So this was just the best option because it was a walk-on. These probably would have been walk-ons too. Maybe not Snow White, but I just figured, like, you know, it was right in front of me. I knew this was going to take like 2 minutes max to wait for, so I just went for it.
In spite of everything, we're getting on our second ride of the day about 13 minutes in.
So yeah, we
Toad's
waited like
Wild
2
Ride
minutes
is
for
based on
Toads.
the
It wasn't that
super old
bad.
Disney. But what's even wilder is staying on pace for 8 rides in 1 hour, which I'm starting to fall behind on.
So, okay, Peter Pan kind of set us back just a little bit. And the fact that I was kind of running around afterwards because I hadn't quite figured out what I wanted to do next was eating away at our time. Like 8 rides in 1 hour is kind of a wild thing to go after. I think I did that during the first speedrun, but that was when I had the advantage of early entry. Like I just said about like trying to look for the key rides that are operational right now, the rotation rides. I noticed that Dumbo, they had just stopped Dumbo. Like, they had just stopped the rotation, so I was like, okay, we're getting in line for Dumbo right now. I know that I'm going to wait the absolute minimum for it.
On right now.
But I still had to wait, I think,
one
one rotation for it. One or two rotations.
I think it's 1 rotation. I don't know. It's non-negotiable. Dumbo needs to happen.
If there are 16 Dumbos and each one can hold
And yes,
one,
these are supposed to be elephants. I'm awful at drawing. I will just...
that means it's going to take roughly 4 minutes to cycle 24 people through.
Which in the afternoon can be a nightmare, which is why we're going on it right now in the
Which is very true. Dumbo can get pretty... It can be pretty bad in the afternoon. I know that there's some people who think, like, oh, Dumbo shouldn't be that long, but it's literally because when you do the math on it, it's a nightmare. It can literally be a nightmare. That's also the reason why in Disney World they have 2 Dumbo, they have 2, like, Dumbo spinners for what's supposed to be 1 ride, because they, like, realized pretty quickly that, like, hey, Dumbo's kind of it's a slow loader, so we need to, like, add more capacity to the ride to make the line a little bit faster. I waited, I think, like 10 minutes for this. No, less than 10 minutes.
The ride itself is fine, but not anything groundbreaking. It did, however, give me the height to check on the carousel while riding.
So yeah, the entire time that I was on the ride, I was just looking for, I was like, okay, is the carousel moving? Where's the storybook boat in its rotation? Because I thought there was only 1 storybook boat in rotation. I couldn't really get a good view of the storybook boats, but I did see that the carousel was stopping its rotation,
they have a rotation loaded up,
which is what made this possible, which was really awesome.
I was able to wait nothing for this ride because while I was on Dumbo, I noticed that there wasn't enough people currently in line to fill up all 72 horses. And right as I was getting off of Dumbo, the carousel finished its current rotation, which meant I could just walk right into the next rotation with little to no wait. I told you guys.
So yeah, that was pretty awesome. That was like something that I had been like hoping, like, this needs to happen if I want to do 8 rides in 1 hour, and I'm glad that it happened because it came in clutch. Before this ride started, I was kind of like looking around because, again, when I'm speedrunning, I'm like in this like crazy tunnel vision mode where I'm just like, okay, what are the other rides looking like? Like, what should my next move be? And I noticed that I kind of looked over my shoulder because where I physically was, I could see Storybook, and I noticed that they added like 2 new boats to the rotation. I was under the impression that they were only cycling in 1 boat for Storybook at this time because, like, it was super early, no one's really gonna do it. But the fact that they had added 2 more boats in my eyes meant like, oh, okay, they're gonna put this to max capacity. I was kind of under the impression that it was like we were already gonna be at 6 boats soon, but I was very incorrect on that, and that was like a major miscalculation on my part. That really, it was like the biggest mess up of the entire speedrun, and we'll get to that in a few rides from now. But just know that's why I had thought like, oh, Storybook shouldn't be that long of a wait right now.
I'm going to be screaming if I see Pinocchio at a 5-minute wait in the afternoon. I'm going to be so angry.
The thing with
So yeah, and the reason I said that is because Pinocchio was one that I was kind of wanting to save for the afternoon, because it's one that you can usually find a pretty low wait for in the afternoon, like maybe max 10 minutes. Which is like, it's probably the best one out of all of the Fantasyland dark rides. So I was like, I'm totally willing to just save this one for the afternoon. But because it was like, it was a walk-on and it was right next to me, I was like, dude, I have to get in this line. Like, and so I went in
with
line
all these
for it.
Fantasyland
But
dark
yeah.
rides is that since they all continuously have an endless supply of vehicles coming in, if it's a short wait, it's usually going to be a walk-on, which is the reason why I started with Fantasyland in the first place. It's the only area in the park where you can get on and off multiple rides in a super short amount of time.
That's why I would recommend, if you are doing a speedrun of Disneyland, start with Fantasyland. You're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. You're killing like 5 birds with 1 stone by using your rope drop on multiple rides in Fantasyland. That's just my opinion. In the past, I had a different opinion about it, and maybe I'll have a different opinion in the future as I do more speedrunning and like data analysis of Disneyland. If you're looking to do the most rides in 1 hour, you have to start at Fantasyland.
What is this, 5th ride of the day, I think?
And that certainly was the case for Pinocchio's Daring Journey. In this ride, you get to indulge in Pleasure Island and then turn into a donkey.
Pleasure Island. That's my favorite island, you know me.
It is my favorite
Not
island.
my
I
favorite
loved it.
Fantasyland dark.
Okay, no, Snow White is a no-go. It's like literally, the queue is outside. Yeah, we
So yeah, I noticed that Snow White was like a long wait, which really bummed me out, because I was really hoping to just get that area of Fantasyland done, because then I could just move on to the other part. But I saw that the line for Snow White was very long, so I was like, no,
Okay,
we're
we
just
can
gonna
walk
have to save
on
that for
teacups
later.
right now. Oh my god, look at Alice.
Even though we could walk on teacups right now, I was trapped into a corner for what my next ride would be, because Alice in Wonderland, the Storybook Canal boats, and Snow White's Enchanted Wish were all at nearly afternoon level waits.
Let's get in our cup. Let's go yellow.
This was pretty
Or not.
devastating. This was when I was like kind of panicking, because I didn't know what to do. At first I was like, maybe I should just wait in line for Alice in Wonderland, because I was eyeing the queue and I noticed that it was continuously moving. So I was like, surely it won't take that long to get through Alice in Wonderland, and like I know it's going to be like such a longer wait in the afternoon. But as I was on teacups, I was getting a better look at the queue, and I say it in the video, like maybe we should just wait on Alice, because it's looking like it's going to be like at least 20-30 minutes. Alice in Wonderland generally caps in the afternoon at like 40, maybe 45 minutes. So it's better to just wait that in the afternoon when everything's a long wait than to wait like 20-30 minutes for it in the morning when everything is like a low wait.
I keep making like switching out my plan, but I think I'm gonna hop on Alice after this. Maybe we
Yeah,
wait
and then
on
the
Alice.
boats
I'm
or the
second-guessing myself already
teacups
because
start
I'm getting
spinning, and I
medical
realized no,
things
actually
to do.
we
After
should
getting
not
off
be
the
waiting
teacups,
for
I checked
Alice.
on the queues of
Because like, yeah, that's like 1, 2, 3. I think it was like, I was trying to count how many switchbacks there were when I was like physically there. I think I counted like another switchback. So there was like 4 switchbacks.
Okay, this decision might come back to haunt me later, but I think our best bet right now is to cut our losses and just start section 2. So that means
So yeah, okay, I'm starting section 2. I'm like, all right, we're not going to be able to do 8 rides in 1 hour. Let's just go and get things started with section 2, which would have been Astro Orbiter, because Astro Orbiter is a similar ride to Dumbo. It's like basically the same ride as Dumbo. I knew that section 2 had to start with going back down to Astro Orbiter just to get Astro Orbiter done with, and then we can move back up and make our way back up to Toontown eventually. Because I was so locked in, I didn't, for the life of me, I did not decide to like check my phone and even see what the wait time of Astro Orbiter was, because I knew that it's probably just going to be a 5-minute wait. Like I know the data, it's probably maybe 10-minute wait like max, but that still isn't even that bad. But we're about to find out why I should have checked
Section
my
2 of my
app.
plan
I
is
should have
the
checked
middle
my
part of
phone.
2. But what I didn't realize in that moment is that I was making a huge mistake.
Oh
I look
man,
so
that
concerned
really
in that-
sucks. That means
in
we
that
only
part.
did
It's
6
so funny.
rides. It's fine though. We're starting this a little bit early though. I was planning on not even going here until 9. Don't you dare tell me Astro Orbiter is broken down right now. Oh, we screwed up. Astro Orbiter is broken down right now.
So, okay, this was, I have an app on my phone, and it's not really like a specific like Disneyland notification app. There's this like social media site called Mastodon. There is an account on that site that posts every time that a ride breaks down. Like it will say like, oh, Astro Orbiter broke down. And so I was following that account, and I basically turned on notifications for that account so that it would notify me every time a ride broke down. For some reason, it never posted for like the first 3 hours of this speed run. But honestly, I blamed it on the app. I should have just been checking.
That was
then I had to speed walk all the way back up to Matterhorn, where I literally was just at. My legs were literally killing me already. I was sweating so bad. It was a mess.
We're in line for the 7th ride. I guess we're technically not behind schedule.
3
We're just doing
minutes
things a little bit out of order. So I guess things are doing okay right now.
And even though I was trying to stay optimistic, I was very nervous about what could come next.
I don't know what to do next though. Gadget's only 5 right now.
So because I was using single rider for this, I didn't wait long at all for this. I waited like 2 minutes, 3 minutes for this. It was not long at all.
I might honestly
single rider is like best used in the morning, because basically what single rider is like it takes you to the very front of the ride, like where they're like grouping people to like get on the ride, and they're looking for single riders to be like the end of groups, or like to kind of fill in the gaps between groups so that they're still running the ride at max capacity. It's helpful using it in the morning when the lines are already pretty short, because then less people are even using single rider. Is single rider faster than Lightning Lane? It is sometimes. In the morning, it definitely is, and for Millennium Falcon, it certainly is. I'll explain more about single rider when we get to Millennium Falcon, because that was like crazy what happened with Millennium Falcon. Yes and no, because I think Lightning Lane is like a guaranteed, like you're going to be prioritized, but single rider is just based on the groups of people that are coming in. I would still recommend using single rider whenever you can, because that is one less Lightning Lane that you have to book, which can help you out a lot.
Okay, new plan. Since the rides in Toontown aren't looking very bad with their wait times, and I know that they'll probably stay like that for a little bit longer, I want to try and do at least one more Fantasyland ride. And the one I decided to go with was the Storybook Canal Boats, which is what I'll do immediately after
but
Matterhorn
the execution was
Bobsleds.
not there.
Matterhorn time. I'm gonna wait for this and then just check the weight for this one.
Okay, so, oh god. Storybook Canal Boats. Oh my god. I don't... At this point, I'm thinking that there are like 6 boats in rotation, because I had seen them starting to add boats. So I just thought, oh, okay, they're already filling it up to max capacity, so maybe Storybook isn't going to be a long wait. And I saw already that the line for Storybook was not that far. Where I physically am in the queue as I'm like rolling up to it,
okay.
This should have been like a 15-minute wait.
And then just check the weight for
But it was not a 15-minute wait. That, on top of the fact that I noticed that there was like not everyone queued up in the space. Like there's look at these switchbacks that they're just not using. That's why I thought, oh, this is like guaranteed not going to be a long wait, maybe 10-minute wait for Storybook Canal Boats. But I was very wrong on that, because of the fact that they were only running 3 boats, which I didn't know until it was too late. Like I had already been waiting for like 5 minutes. That was my bad, and it really put me in a bad mood. But I would recommend doing Storybook in the afternoon for this very reason, just because you guarantee that it's going to be 6 boats in the afternoon.
They are only at half capacity for the boats right now. They usually have 6 boats running in the peak afternoon times, but since it's still 8 a.m., they have half the amount of boats.
Okay, I have to say, can you guys please appreciate the editing that it took? Like this 10-second clip took like probably 2.5 hours at least to edit. You can book your first Lightning Lane the second that you arrive at Disneyland. You get an hour-long return time for when you can use it, and you can book your second Lightning Lane either after you've used this Lightning Lane, if it's been 2 hours since you've booked the Lightning Lane, or if the current time is the end of this Lightning Lane's return. So, okay, that right there is key to this entire plan. The fact that they've recently, like as of, I think I discovered this in like April, they changed their Lightning Lane policy where you can book your next Lightning Lane if the current time is at the end of your current Lightning Lane's return time. So like, let me try to explain this in like basic terms. Let's say it's 8 a.m. and you have a Lightning Lane for Space Mountain. You booked it at 8 a.m. The return time is for 8 to 9. The next time that you can book a Lightning Lane would be at 9, when normally it would be at 10, because you get the 2-hour rule comes into play. It's 2 hours after the time that you booked the Lightning Lane. What I realized with this change in the Lightning Lane system is that you could book your second Lightning Lane at 9 a.m. because the return time is probably going to be 8 to 9, so it would be the end of the Lightning Lane's return time. After booking that Lightning Lane, you then modify the other Lightning Lane so that you can still use it later, but I didn't test this, and I didn't realize that they were going to make it so that you can't modify it after the return time is passed. And that really screwed me up. Like, I was actually panicking for a second. I just screwed up my lightning lane with Indiana Jones. That is, like, awful. But I was able to make a comeback, and we'll see how I was able to do it. But I was feeling really discouraged at this point.
Well, if we're not able to modify it at all, then we're gonna have to cancel it because I can't use it right now.
And it was good that I did cancel it, because if I hadn't canceled it, then I would not have been able to book a lightning lane at all for Indiana Jones, like a second time. And for a second, I didn't even know if I would be able to book again for Indiana Jones. That's why I was panicking so much. This is when I genuinely thought that I had screwed up the speedrun. Like, I thought that it was over at this point, because I was like, dude, there's no way I'm gonna wait 50 minutes for Indiana Jones.
I'm starting to feel really discouraged already, but I don't know. We'll see.
And I'm not
Maybe
even
we'll get lucky.
joking
The
about
storybook
that.
now-
This was the lowest point of the
Boats is
speedrun.
a
I was
boat
not
ride
feeling
that
good
takes
on
you
this
through
ride.
the California
This is
Sea
me
or the wake
contemplating
of the
life.
fatal
The
lightning
face
lane
of someone
L that I just took.
contemplating
Like, I really
everything.
was not feeling. Realistically, if I want any chance of beating the world record, I need to complete the 3 rides in Mickey's Toontown in less than 40 minutes.
So I kind of knew that, like, Toontown has to be done with fast if I want to even have a chance of recovering from this. I was hoping to get Toontown done quickly so then I can go back down and do Astro Orbiter and Jungle Cruise, because those two I knew were probably going to be long waits. I don't know where Jungle Cruise was at this moment, but Astro Orbiter was still broken down. As far as I know, when Astro Orbiter did reopen right before I went on it, that was the first time it had opened the entire day. So that's what we were working with that.
Our first target is Gadget, because it's the only ride that doesn't have a lightning lane line.
Chippendales actually was pretty awesome. I did not wait long for it at all. I waited took me like 7 minutes to get through it. That is like really good. Especially compared to the first speed run, I think I waited longer for it. So that was great. It made me feel really good, because that was one that I was really worried about, but we just walked on it. So we were doing good in that.
This is true Disneyland Speedrun. I'm like speed walking like crazy.
And yeah, I was actually genuinely speed walking like a madman the entire day. Usually, I think in my other speed runs, it was like I would speed walk like that for like the first like hour, maybe hour and a half of the speed run. But I was genuinely doing it the whole day, because I was like, dude, if I want to recover, I need to actually like speed walk like a maniac. So for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, I did not use Lightning Lane for it. I went standby because it was only 10 minutes. I wasn't planning on booking a Lightning Lane for it because the return times were already far out. But knowing what I know now, if I were to like put myself back in that moment, I probably would have at least attempted to swipe up on the Lightning Lane a little bit and try to see if I can get an instant return time. I waited like, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes for it, which isn't terrible. I wasn't really concerned about it in the moment. I probably could have saved time here. And we'll get into swiping up on Lightning
and
Lanes
we
in a
don't even
second.
gotta wait.
So,
We
yeah.
just cleared this land. Toontown is done. We don't have to go back
This
here.
ride took up, like, most of the
Vehicles is
time.
the next one that
We're 11 rides in. We have 2 rides left of Section 2, Main Street Vehicles and Astro Orbiter. The beginning of Section 3 has us starting with Jungle Cruise, which I knew was probably going to be a 25-minute wait if we don't speed things up. However, right now, Astro Orbiter and Jungle Cruise are both broken down, so we're going to take advantage of that by trying to hop directly into...
So the like calculation that I made was like, okay, the only reason that I should be rushing right now is to go on Astro Orbiter and Jungle Cruise when they're low weights, because everything else is kind of a long wait. Like everything in Fantasyland is decently long. I quickly realized like it's not even worth doing Main Street Vehicles at this moment, because Main Street Vehicles is one that you can walk on basically at any time. However, again, because I messed up so bad with the Main Street Vehicles, I sometimes kind of wish that I had just gone on the Main Street Vehicles then, so then I wouldn't have to deal with the garbage that I had to deal with. This was still a good plan though, because I kind of knew like, okay, I need to do some risky moves if I want to actually like get my time back, and that involves like trying to jump in a line right when I see that it's open. So that's what I was hoping to do with both Jungle Cruise and Astro Orbiter, and we'll see how successful I am at those two.
We're gonna do Snow White just as buffer time to hope that those 2 rides reopen, and then we'll hit Main Street Vehicles, because Main Street Vehicles are always gonna be a walk-on. That's why I was like, no, it's not worth doing that right now. I think that was a good call on my part.
So this was kind of a good plan. I just think that it assumed that Snow White was going to be a lower weight now than in the afternoon, but at this point I think Snow White was already capped out. I think I waited like, it was like 2 hours, so I waited like a good 25 minutes for Snow White, which is not that great, but I even did say like I'm using it as buffer time, because like that was like the thing that I was thinking about, like whenever I think back about the speedrun, is like what could I have done instead, because every other ride was kind of a long wait also, and the 2 rides that I knew I needed to do were broken down. So like what would have been a better option, honestly? I think it was decent because it did give me the buffer time. I don't like how long I waited for Snow White. That's the only part of it that I didn't really like, but it's whatever.
If nothing else, what ended up happening while I was in line for Snow White was definitely a good call.
We are so back. I just did a swipe up refresh and I got a return time for Indiana Jones for 11:35.
Okay, remember how I said you can modify your lightning lane?
The swipe up strat is absolutely goated. Let's say it's 11 a.m. and you have a lightning lane for 2 p.m., but you want to use it now. What you can do is you can modify this lightning lane for whatever the newest return time of this ride is. And usually that return time is going to be a little bit further out than this one. However, if you just keep swiping up, you just keep on refreshing, then there's the possibility that somebody will cancel their lightning lane for this ride and you will go in and take whatever their return time is.
So I think if you're paying money for Lightning Lane, you should know how this works. Like you should learn how this works because it has potential to save you hundreds of dollars now because Disney unveiled their like Lightning Lane Premier Pass, which is the only difference between that and Genie Plus, or not Genie Plus, sorry, Lightning Lane Multi Pass, is that you don't have to book return times for it. You can just like go on the rides at your leisure. But if you just know how to book Lightning Lanes and if you know how to do the swipe up strat, then return times shouldn't really be an issue. They still will be kind of an issue, but it's not going to be like as big of an issue. Like I swiped up on a bunch of these lightning lanes and it's what saved the speedrun, quite honestly. So I was kind of aware about like the whole concept of swiping up on lightning lanes, but I didn't realize how well it was going to work. I just kind of did it on Indiana Jones just kind of test it, and I swiped up like once or twice and I got a return time that was like way closer to the current time than like what I had before.
Oh my god, Astro Orbiter just opened. Okay, we're going to Astro Orbiter. Incredible luck.
So yeah,
okay, let's get over there right now.
This was really big. I was like, oh my god, Astro Orbiter actually just like it almost felt like make believe because I was just like hoping that it would happen and it did happen. So I was like, I need to get over there right now.
The Disneyland app can be deceiving though, because when I pulled up, it was a 20-minute wait.
What the hell? Why is it like packed up in there? Dude, the line is packed right now. Well, I don't even know what.
So this was like concerning because like I thought that it wasn't even going to be a long wait, but there was like a 20-minute queue already queued up. But it was still, I kind of knew that this was still probably the best option because again, I'm like waiting on Jungle Cruise still, and I'm waiting on like my lightning lanes still. I need to wait in these queues because I know that this is probably going to be a 30-minute wait in the afternoon, so I might as well just do it now because like what else is there really to do?
Fine, I'll wait.
I wish I had
Ride
waited
13
less than
Astro
that, but it's
Orbiter is
whatever.
another, which is when I decided to look at my phone to see if Jungle Cruise had reopened yet.
Oh my god, it reopened. Dude,
So this was
Jungle Cruise just
This was just straight luck. Thank God it actually had just reopened. That made me really happy, and I want to emphasize that from the second that I found out that Jungle Cruise had reopened to the second that I stepped in line to Jungle Cruise was like, it was less than a minute. I don't know how I did it, but like my legs, that's probably why my legs were absolutely killing me by the end of the day. And here, there's actually something that I want to pull up about Jungle Cruise specifically. Let's see if I can find it. But just listen to what I say here. It shows that I'm always thinking about this stuff.
Dude, I can't wait to do an analysis of the speedrun when everything's said and done, because I'm going to be talking about how this move was such a good move.
Which is true. I was thinking about this moment right here, the speedrun analysis of when I would be talking about this ride specifically, because I knew that like that was so awesome that I had actually just pulled that off. I thought that I was going to have to wait like 25 minutes for this ride when I was planning for the speedrun, because Jungle Cruise is it's a boat ride that the boat load on is not as consistent as something like Pirates or Small World. You're gonna have to be like waiting for them to fill up the entire boat and like where people are sitting in the boat. That combined with the fact that it is also like technically a rotation ride. If I saw a 20-minute wait for Jungle Cruise, that would have been like big for me. That would have been like really good for me. But the fact that I just walked on it, like I was feeling so good. I was feeling so confident. I was like, okay, I've gotten over the hurdles of like what messed me up with Storybook. I'm doing great now.
As I entered back into the Main Street Circle, for some reason I couldn't find any vehicles.
Ooh, okay, that's unlucky. I'm not seeing any vehicles that are even here right now. Dude, there's nothing. What the frick?
I decided to walk to the front of Main Street,
Okay.
hoping to find an...
So the Main Street vehicles, this was a major flub on my part.
Oh my god, there's
The
a
Main
whole
Street
show going on
band,
right now.
the Main Street band plays during like certain times right before the afternoon. I should have known this. I should have like it's frustrating because it's like if I had just known this, then I could have actually like it's not like oh, Indiana Jones broke down. That was out of my control. This was something that was in my control, so I was kind of beating myself up over this. But hey, at least now I'm not going to make that mistake ever again, and you shouldn't make that mistake ever again when you do your speedruns. Set a reminder of like, hey, the Main Street Band is about to perform. Don't try to go on the Main Street vehicles.
Let me Google how long is Main Street Band performance. 18 minutes? Crap. Okay, that was bad move on my end.
Now I'm heading back.
I was considering just waiting for the band to be over so I could just be the first one on one of the new vehicles, but when I realized that like, oh, they just started and it's an 18 minutes performance, this is gonna take a while. There's no point in waiting. Let me just do something else.
Up to Indiana Jones to use my lighting lane.
We still have 3 minutes before we can even scan in our...
However, like I just said, we had 3 more minutes to even use the lighting lane, so technically like I would have had to wait either way to even use the lightning lane, which was the next ride that I did.
Section 3 of the speedrun is basically the entire left side of Disneyland. Indiana Jones, Pirates, Haunted Mansion, the Riverboat, Big Thunder Mountain, and both rides at Star Wars Land. Just about all of these rides use lightning lane, which means the key to success on this side of the park is booking lightning lanes with quick return times.
We need to book right now.
And yeah, that's why I saved the lightning lanes for this time, for section 3 instead of like section 1, because you want to be using your lightning lanes when you actually need to use them. That's why I think lightning lane hopping in the morning is maybe not the best strategy in my opinion anymore.
Big Thunder. We're gonna book for Big Thunder. I think we can swipe up, refresh this one. Okay, 125.
And I was ready to do just that.
12 p.m., 12 p.m. Yes, yes. 11:50 to 12.
So yeah, I think I said 125 because that was the lightning lane that I had first booked for, and I swiped it up to an 11:50 return time. To make things even better, Indiana Jones was not a long wait at all. I waited like 15 minutes for it.
Even though Indiana Jones and the Temple of the Forbidden Eye is notorious for ride breakdowns, it's still...
Which, okay, I was actually shocked to see this data when I looked into it. All this data that you see on graphs and stuff comes from Thrill data. I have it linked right here. I did most of it for the month of September because that's like when I was editing the video. This ride breaks down on average at least once a day for the entire month of September, which is like insane. Like this ride is so unreliable. There was a day where it broke down like 6 times, and it's also a long wait all the time, so it's a dangerous ride for speedrunning. But I was lucky enough to have it not break down on me. I believe that Indiana Jones broke down 20 minutes after this because that was when the Mastodon notifications thing that I was talking about earlier, that's when it started working. I remember seeing a notification that said like, oh, Indiana Jones has been temporarily interrupted, and I was like, dude, I dodged a bullet there. I'm so happy that I missed that. If I got stuck on the ride or if I got stuck in line again, that would have, oh man, I would not be happy.
Come on, don't do me like this again. This is the 3rd time I've tried to ride the Main Street vehicles. But I don't know if they're gonna actually do another cycle, because if the next band is supposed to start at 12:15, it's 11:54 right now. I guess
So yeah, I was pretty shocked at how much I was getting cooked by the Main Street vehicles. I didn't think that it was gonna take this long. Like I had already tried like 3 or 4 times at this point. And it was at this point that I was realizing, oh, it doesn't even matter even if I were to walk with the horse, because when I get there, they're just going to put the horse away so that they can do another Main Street Band performance. Main Street vehicles close at 2:15. So that was another thing that I was trying to keep in mind, is like, I need to do this like before it actually closes for the day. I wasn't happy about how much it was messing me up.
However, as I was walking to Big Thunder Mountain, I found the perfect opportunity to walk on a completely different ride.
Wait, is Mark Twain just showing up? Hold on, change of plans again. I think we're gonna go on.
This was a really good clutch. Again, like I say about, I mean, you can't get more literal about like the bus rotation analogy than this. This is like the bus is showing up, get on the bus, or you have to wait for the next bus to show up, which there's only one Mark Twain riverboat. So I was very lucky in the fact that it was just docked there, and I was like, oh, let me just get on this. If they're gonna let me on it, I might as well do it so then I don't have to wait at all for this ride.
Let me show you the lunch that I have.
So yeah, I packed a lunch. I packed it in the little backup lunch thing that I did for my California Adventure speedrun. The reason that I packed a lunch this time was because I knew that on top of like ordering the food and getting the food, and then having to eat the food somewhere was going to take up time. And I was like, if I could just pack my own lunch and then just like eat it while on the Mark Twain riverboat or like in line for a ride, then like I could save myself some time. And that's exactly what I did. So this was a good plan.
As I ate lunch on the Mark Twain riverboat, I devised the perfect plan to get myself back on track, which involves riding every Section 3 ride and the Main Street vehicles in just 2 hours.
Okay, we'll do Big Thunder, then we'll do Haunted Mansion, we'll do Main Street vehicles, then depending on where our lighting lanes are, we'll probably do Pirates next. But if not, then we can always just go over to Galaxy's Edge a little early.
I will say the Mark Twain riverboat was like a great little break because I just got to sit down and just like do my little strategy thing while eating lunch.
I then booked a lightning lane for Pirates and was attempting to do the swipe up strat to get a better return time while walking through the Big Thunder line.
Pirates is saying 2:15. We're gonna try for a better one. Hold on. We're literally walking on Big Thunder, by the way. Like I didn't even.
I think we waited like 3 minutes for Big Thunder, which is pretty awesome. Like, dude, the lightning lane for Big Thunder was working pretty well. It took a little bit for me to actually swipe up on this lightning lane. I eventually did get it when I was like in line for Haunted Mansion. I think it's just to say that I think the further you wait in the day, the more difficult it's going to be to actually have the swipe up strat be successful. Don't rely on the swipe up strat, but also it can be very helpful. It's worth trying a little bit, and it might take a little bit for it to actually work.
Oh yeah, one thing I didn't mention is that during the time of recording, the only way to actually get in line for Haunted Mansion was to join the virtual queue, which is what I did earlier while I was in line for Matterhorn.
I'm gonna book the
So, okay, the virtual queue thing, I didn't really get a good chance to fully explain my strategy for the virtual queue in this video, but I had a very specific strategy of like when I should be booking the virtual queue. You're able to book the virtual queue at 7 a.m., but I didn't book it then because I knew that if I had booked it at 7 a.m., like right at 7 a.m., my boarding group would have been called for like right when the park opened at 8 a.m., but I knew that I didn't want to even be in that area until later in the day. So I had to wait. I had to literally physically wait to book the virtual queue like 45 minutes into the speedrun, which is kind of crazy. I had to wait like an hour and 45 minutes after the virtual queue distribution to even book the virtual queue. The calculation that I had done is that if I waited that long, then it would have been called for the exact time that I would have wanted it to be called for, which ended up working out perfectly for me. But it was a little stressful because I knew that if I was unsuccessful at booking the virtual queue, I would have had to wait for the 12 p.m. distribution. Those virtual queues sometimes don't even get called until like 8 p.m., 9 p.m., like late, very late into the day when I knew I probably would have been done by the speedrun at that point. It was a risk, but it ended up working out like exactly how I wanted it to work out.
With it being the beginning of the afternoon, things are starting to get really busy.
We're at the part now where it's like difficult to walk any vehicle.
I was glad to actually finally be able to do Main Street vehicles now that all the Main Street band activity was done. Only took like 7 minutes to get through this ride.
Any vehicle. Okay,
it's just annoying that I'd wasted so much time before.
Like I said, and with the heat starting to get to me, Pirates of the Caribbean is the perfect ride to go to. You begin the iconic boat ride.
Okay, Pirates of the Caribbean. This ride took a little bit long, and it's mainly because it is a long line, or a long ride, but we didn't wait long for it. I think we waited, if I remember right, I think I waited like 6 minutes for it using Lightning Lane, which is not bad at all. In fact, the fact that it even had Lightning Lane made it better because Pirates doesn't normally have Lightning Lane. In fact, I think they're going to get rid of its Lightning Lane within the next few months, but they also might just keep it. I don't know. And the thing that really messes people up with Pirates is the fact that it has the potential for the boats to clog. And when the boats clog, it makes the ride a lot longer than it should be. This happened with Small World during my first speedrun. It meant that we spent maybe like 4 extra minutes on it, which I guess isn't terrible, but it's still worth mentioning that like the extra time for Pirates is because of the boat clogging, not necessarily because of the line. I wasn't super concerned at the time because I thought that like, okay, we're on pace to get under 10 hours. If I was originally under the mindset of like, I want to be doing this in less than 9 hours, I probably would have been a little bit more concerned.
Star Wars Land has 2 rides, Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run and Rise of the Resistance. For Rise, I'm going to buy Lightning Lane Single Pass. If I don't, my only other choice is to wait 75 minutes in line. For Millennium Falcon, I have a plan that should get me on the ride faster than if I use Lightning Lane.
We can get on it with single rider, and we should be able to do so fairly quickly because you're gonna skip the Hondo pre.
Like I said earlier about single rider, as far as like Matterhorn goes, it's usually good to use single rider in the morning because like there's less people in a single rider line. You're more likely to like wait only 2 minutes for the ride like I did for Matterhorn. But at this point, it's like the afternoon. There's a potential for the single rider line to be kind of long, not longer than standby, but still like fairly long and potentially longer than Lightning Lane. I decided to bank on like I'm just gonna do single rider because I know that even if you use Lightning Lane, you're gonna have to wait through the Hondo pre-show that happens, which is like a 3-minute little presentation that Hondo does. But
You're gonna
like I say in the video,
pre-show.
I was not expecting it to take.
But I'm not gonna lie,
This is
I was
this
not
long.
expecting the plan to work this well.
Yeah, single rider? Okay, thank you. I walked on that, bro. That was incredible.
Essentially what
This
just
was
happened
incredible
is
luck.
I entered the single rider queue right as the cast was looking for a single rider to fill in one space. And I guess every single rider ahead of me was in a group and wanted to be grouped next to each other. So I got to skip the single rider queue and turn this 65-minute wait into a 15-second.
So, okay, you're not supposed to use the, let me just clarify this. You're not supposed to use the single rider queue as a second Lightning Lane queue as those people were. The thing to take away though, single rider is kind of overpowered. There's a possibility that if you truly are a single rider, you could just skip the single rider line also because there's a possibility that everyone in the single rider line is using it as like, oh, I want to still be in a group with someone. You're not supposed to use it like that, but you know, the cast members will obviously be kind towards you and let you do that sometimes. But it means that if you truly are one person, you can just skip those people. And that's what just happened right there. Like, let's see how long it took me to get through this ride. 5 hours, 32 minutes to 5 hours, 40 minutes. It took like 8 minutes to get through this ride. That's absolutely insane. Like, I almost felt bad because I was like literally skipping the entire line.
Despite buying Disney's $30 Lightning Lane single pass, I still had to wait 20 minutes, which under any other circumstance would be fine. But this has once again put us a little behind schedule.
So, okay, like I just said, under any other circumstance, 20 minutes for Res the Resistance, not bad at all. Like, I'll gladly wait in that line. But the fact that, like, I was kind of banking on this Lightning Lane line taking like 10 minutes max, it kind of put us a little bit behind. It was a little concerning because what had happened actually was that they had us waiting in the tunnel for like a little bit, like the tunnel right before you get to where they put you in the Ray room. They had us waiting in this tunnel for like a little bit. But after that, it was like a walk-on from when you get into the Star Destroyer, because usually you still have to wait a little bit once you get into the Star Destroyer, but there was absolutely no one in line. I think I can actually show footage of this.
There's no line. Okay.
I was like, there's no line. Like, what's happening?
Don't be line. Left side.
There's usually supposed to be like a crazy line right here, but there was no line. And I think it's because they had to clear out the queue for some reason, because they had us waiting for a little bit. And I think like something happened with the ride. They had to clear out the entire ride.
Yes. Dude, there's no line. Okay. Let's go. Let's freaking go. We're getting so lucky. Like, it's actually insane how lucky we're getting. Okay.
But it was quite literally a walk-on. This is like where they group you into the interrogation rooms, so it was pretty awesome. But anyways,
It's so incredible.
But what's even more incredible is becoming the fastest to ride every ride at Disneyland.
Okay, these
Heading into
transitions are a
Section
little
4,
funny.
I specifically waited until the afternoon to ride the Casey Jr. Circus train, because in the afternoon when they run 2 trains, the ride averages about a 10-minute wait, which in the afternoon is not bad at all.
okay, first of all, with the Casey Jr. trains, I just want to say that this was a really good call to wait for the 2 train cycle, because the 2 train cycle is way faster than the 1 train cycle. When I actually did the first speed run, they only had 1 train in rotation when I had gone on it, and it took longer than this, even though this was further on in the day. But it also means that like you shouldn't even really be scared of the Casey Jr. line anytime, as long as there's 2 trains, because it's guaranteed going to be like a 10-minute wait, which is what it was during the speed run, which is really good for the afternoon. Like, if I can get a 10-minute wait in the afternoon, I'm happy. Like, that is good. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that this editing right here, I'm sorry, I need to describe to you just how long it took to edit this.
When they run 2 trains, the ride...
These all are individual layers. I had to like key out that they have like this drawing of the Casey Jr. train like right here. I had to key it out for every single one of these cars, and then have these all be individual layers rotating and moving along all in synchrony. This took so long. I remember it took like 3 hours to edit, but it's so worth it because it looks so cool. And I just wanted to point that out. Okay, anyways.
In the afternoon is not bad at all.
They have so many storybook boats going by now. Maybe we should have just waited on that one.
Okay, so yeah, like I just said, maybe we should have just waited on that one. That's why I say save the storybook boats for the afternoon. If there's 6 boats in the storybook, I think it's going to be kind of similar to Casey Jr. in the sense that like you're probably not going to wait that long for it. When I did my first Disneyland speedrun, I believe there was only 3 3 boats in rotation, even though I did do it in the afternoon, because it took a little bit longer than it really should have. If there are 6 boats, it's not going to be a long wait. I can rest assured it's probably not going to be a long wait. Same with Casey Jr. If there's 2 trains, it's not going to be a long wait. So that's just good to remember.
Oh, and the next ride we're doing is Alice in Wonderland, which is a 40-minute wait. So I'm going to need a lot of determination.
It's Alice in Wonderland time. There's nothing else that really makes sense to do right now because we'd have to cross over the parade route. We're gonna tough it out in Alice in Wonderland. Yeah, 40 minutes. Okay.
But what happened next absolutely shocked me.
Oh, one? Yeah.
Okay, let me explain what's happening because I don't think I explained it properly in the video. This is 10 minutes. I've only done like 1 switchback. This is where I started like right behind there, and I did a switchback over here, but I was switching back over to where the front of the ride is right here. Like this is like the front of the line, but I still had to go around the corner and do 2 or 3 more switchbacks. This was still gonna be like, I was gonna wait like 30 more minutes, and I was prepared for that. And that's why I'm eating a granola bar right now. I don't even have my other camera on right now because I like turned it off because I was like, let me just relax for a moment because I know I'm gonna have to wait a while anyways. But then this happened. The cast member saw me, or he was just like kind of asking like, does anyone have a 1 or 2 people in their group? And I was like listening and I was like, oh, that's me. I'm just one person. So yeah. So he basically let me skip like 30 minutes of the line. Like I would have had to wait 30 more minutes, but he let me skip it because when you get closer to the front of the ride, they're kind of looking to group people together in vehicles. They were trying to ask like, okay, is there anyone who's like 1 or 2 so that I can group them with this family right here? I was one person, so I was like, hey, I'm right here, please. Just let me get on this ride faster. It was just like really good timing because like it wouldn't have happened if he wasn't already looking for someone to group with someone else, and it wouldn't have happened if like I was not standing in that exact position where like there was a chain that could take me directly to an area of the line that's like really close to the front instead of where I was, where I had to wait like 30 more minutes. I don't expect this to happen all the time, but it is helpful to be one person at Disneyland for this exact reason, because if they're looking for someone to fill up a space, you can be that person and you can skip the line. So just keep that in mind.
Dude, I just got the Alice skip. I'm eating, hold on.
That's why I said like I'm eating right now. Like I'm not even prepared for this.
I did not expect that. It really helps just being one person.
And I tried to kind of visually represent it. It was kind of hard to do so, but like this is where the queue is supposed to go. I still had like 2 or 3 more switchbacks to get to the end of the line, but I just skipped it right here. So that's kind of what that was.
I was totally prepared to wait. We waited 10 minutes.
And before I knew it, I was off
10
on
minutes for Alice in Wonderland.
The ride based on the...
It's also worth noting that I had changed my lighting lane because once I realized like, oh, I'm not going to wait 30 more minutes for Alice. I'm getting on it right now. I need to book a lighting lane for like right now. So I booked it for Small World because Small World was like an instant return time.
I'm reclaiming my world record. It's coming back. Hey, Ron, you better watch yourself.
But little did I know that as I exited the ride, I was making a mistake that has potential to...
Did I leave my phone on the ride? Hold up. Where's my phone? I think I left my phone on the ride. Crap.
This is not good because without my phone, I won't be able to book lightning lanes, which would effectively kill the entire speed run.
Let me explain this. This was so stupid. When filming these, I have 2 cameras running. I have the camera that's on my shoulder and I have the camera that I'm holding physically. GoPros have really awful batteries. They don't last that long. So to get around that, because I need them to record all day, I have external batteries that just plug directly into the GoPros and make it so that they last the entire day. These external batteries are like the size of, they're like bricks. Okay, this is the external battery. These are the external batteries I use. I like labeled them by letter just so that I know which one is which. This is like my phone, basically. It's like the size of my phone. It's like a little bit thicker than my phone. And I have these in my pocket. For some reason, I mistook one of those as my phone. So I just thought, oh, my phone's in my pocket, no big deal as I'm getting off the ride. But really, the phone was like on the seat of Alice in Wonderland of the vehicle. So yeah, that was really awful. I was actually kind of panicking at this point because I was like, dude, if I lose my phone, like I'm gonna have to stop the speedrun because like I need my phone back. Like I can't just lose my phone. And in the video, I made it seem like, oh, the only thing I'm concerned about is The only thing I'm concerned about with losing my phone is that I won't be able to book lightning lanes, but like obviously that wasn't the only thing I was thinking about. It's my phone. Like let me have my phone back, please. I just want to say thank you so much to this cast member right here, because he's the same cast member that let me skip the line initially, and he came in clutch because he must have seen that I left my phone
I almost lost
on the thing. I feel bad for the cast members, honestly. They have to deal with my stupidity, but
hey, honestly, I can't even complain too much about this ride. I did just wait 3 minutes for it, and honestly, I'll endure any annoying song in the world if it means that I can get.
So on top of only waiting like 3 minutes for Small World, there was no boat clogs. If you remember in my last speed run, there was an issue with the boats clogging at the end of the ride. The ride took like maybe 10 minutes longer, but there was no boat clogs. I got very lucky with that. In fact, I got so lucky that Small World only took like, look at that, 6 hours 48 minutes to 7 hours 6 minutes. That is like 18 minutes to get through Small World. That is nothing. The ride takes like 15 minutes. So like it literally was like I waited 3 minutes and then I went on the ride and then I got off the ride. I was kind of planning on Small World taking a little bit because I wanted to be on Small World during the parade so that the parade would like end and then I could go to the other side, because I would have had to hop over to the other side of the parade to get to the other rides that I need to do. But because I had done Small World so fast, the parade was still happening.
Okay, here's the deal. I'm trying to get a lightning lane that I can use right now, just so that I can go on a lightning lane ride right now and then go on Nemo.
Okay, we have 4 more rides in less than 2 hours to do them. Buzz Lightyear, Finding Nemo Submarines, Star Tours, and Autopia. However, this won't be as easy as it seems. Finding Nemo is currently a 45-minute wait and does not have lightning lane, whereas every other ride does have lightning lane. But with where the current return times are at, it's going to be very difficult to get instant return times to use lightning lanes on all 3 of them.
So the swipe up strat was really not working. Return times were an issue. I was swiping up like crazy. I was even doing it like while on Small World. I wasn't really getting much luck with anything. I wanted to use Nemo as a buffer ride between the lightning lane rides so that I could be able to get lightning lane for all of them if I wanted to do it in less than 9 hours. At that time, I was still thinking that I was going to do it in less than 10 hours, but I was concerned about that because it meant that I would have had to wait in a pretty long standby line for one of these rides if I wasn't able to swipe up on a lightning lane. And I kind of knew that this was going to be an issue, but I figured that like I could probably get around it by using Nemo as a buffer ride, but I didn't realize how big of an issue. Like it was already an issue before I even showed up to Tomorrowland.
Oh, but it's only a 10-minute wait. Dude, don't tempt me. Autopia is only a 10-minute wait. Should I just go standby?
If I want to get to Autopia before it gets higher than a 10-minute wait, I need to get there right now. But unfortunately, the parade is blocking my path.
I was at this point just like, okay, if Autopia really is 10 minutes, I'll wait that. Like that's nothing. But Disney does lie about the wait times sometimes. So I wasn't convinced, especially because the return times weren't like the greatest and I wasn't able to swipe up really quickly. But I was like, hey, if it really is 10 minutes, I will wait that. If not, then I guess I'm just gonna have to go on Nemo. It took a little bit to get over there because this is what you have to do during when the parade is going on. You have to wait in a line kind of by the teacups to even be able to hop over. It's kind of complicated.
Please, just give me any lightning lane. I'm not picky on what ride.
And I was swiping up on my phone the entire time.
If worst comes to worst, we'll just go on. It's saying 30 on the board. Wait, what? Oh no, it's saying 10. Okay, I just can't read. Let me just get a good look at the line. Wait, there's no one in line. Wait a minute.
Okay, so anyone who's waited in line for Autopia knows that usually this area is like filled to the brim with people. Like there are just people everywhere here. But there's no one here right now. And that was when I realized like, oh, wait, dude, even if I did have lightning lane, it wouldn't have mattered. I was spending all this time trying to swipe up on a lightning lane that wouldn't have done anything for me. I would have felt really silly, in fact, if I'd actually gotten a lightning lane because I wouldn't have skipped anything because the merge point is like over to the right of this.
I don't need no lightning.
That's why I was so happy. I was like laughing about it. The merge point is right there, but like you're not there's no reason to even merge because you're just walking on the ride. And it made it so that it didn't take long at all to get through Autopia. In fact, it only took 12 minutes to get through Autopia because there was no traffic jam in Autopia, and I'll show you that in a second.
Even if I were to use a lightning lane,
yeah, look, that's the merge point.
I would not be skipping anything.
If you recall, in the first Disneyland speedrun, I had to wait a while in a traffic jam of Autopia, and it did not make me feel good. There's no one in front of me right now, and even when I loaded on the ride, there was no one in front of me.
Wait, there's not gonna be a traffic jam on my side because there was no cars.
I got so lucky with this ride that like I picked the perfect lane that was not gonna have any traffic jam. There's a traffic jam in literally every other lane.
We're just gonna go straight in. Bro.
I couldn't even believe it. 12 minutes is an insane amount of time, and like an insanely low amount of time to do Autopia in.
I don't know what we're doing now.
I'm not quite out of the woods yet.
But
my hope is that right
I still
now
was not having luck with the swipe up strat and with getting these return times for these 2 rides.
However, I was having really bad luck with this.
Please, please let me swipe
Look at
up
me,
and
I'm
get this
swiping
lightning
up
lane
the
right
whole
now. 355. Are you freaking serious, bro? Okay, you know what? We're gonna cut our losses. Right now, we're gonna go to Nemo, and then after that, we'll go on Star Tours, and then we'll go on Buzz Lightyear.
So I basically just felt cornered into doing Finding Nemo at this point. I didn't want to do Finding Nemo at this point, but there was really nothing else I could do. I was like, all right, fine, we're gonna get through Finding Nemo, and then I already had a Lightning Lane for Star Tours. I couldn't use it yet. I still had, I think, like 30 more minutes till I could use it. So I was like, all right, we're gonna use the Lightning Lane, and then we're immediately going to book for Buzz Lightyear after I use it. But there's a chance that I won't be able to get a Lightning Lane for Buzz Lightyear, and if that's the case, then I'm just gonna have to wait standby for it, which means that I wouldn't be able to do it in less than 9 hours. Doing all that math in my head, I was like, all right, well, this is a risk that we're just gonna have to take. Like, there's nothing else that I can really do at this point. The entire speedrun, like the end of the speedrun is like completely mapped out. There's no other plans that I could make. This is just what needs to happen.
When it comes to Finding Nemo Submarine Voyage, I don't know what was more painful for me, the wait for the ride or the ride itself. Not only did I wait 45 minutes, anxious.
I'm not gonna lie, I busted out my creative writing skills for the voiceover of this part. I went a little hard on Finding Nemo, but I kind of agree. I don't like Finding Nemo.
As I sat there in this awkward position, I wondered if this was even worth it. Enduring this I have less than 40 minutes to ride both.
And look, it literally took like an hour. Like the time before this was like an hour 30 minutes, but now it's 38 minutes. Finding Nemo takes so long. I hate it.
But if I can't get a Lightning Lane for Buzz, I will have no chance of beating the world record, since the standby wait for Buzz is 40 minutes. The second I scanned in my Lightning Lane for Star Tours, I started booking for Buzz Lightyear.
Okay.
So yeah, I knew that like this is all that it's coming down to. I need to either get a Lightning Lane for this, or I need to do this super fast and somehow get lucky in the standby line for Buzz Lightyear. I was determined to get a Lightning Lane. I was gonna try even to the very last second to get a Lightning Lane for Buzz Lightyear.
430, yes, give me that. 435, yes. Oh, we did it. I got a 435 Lightning Lane for Buzz Lightyear, and it's 424. Okay, yeah, we can use it in 5 minutes.
This is big. I now have 36 minutes to ride Star Tours and Buzz Lightyear, and if I can just do that, I will be the ultimate world record holder for Disneyland Speedrun.
So yeah, this is when I knew, like, for sure, it's a lock. We're gonna do this in less than 9 hours, because I can do the math in my head. I know how long this ride's gonna take. I know how long it's probably going to take me to get through the Buzz Lightyear queue and do Buzz Lightyear. And I knew I was going to have like about 10 minutes to spare, which is pretty accurate to what actually happened. You don't exactly enjoy the rides when you look at the wait times on your phone the whole time. Yeah, no, I mean, you're right on that. But I think, and I've described this a few times before, doing Disneyland Speedrun is not normal. Like this is a very like crazy thing to do, but it generates a different type of fun when you're at Disneyland. Since I've been to Disneyland so many times, like the one thing that I know will make me will make it like a lot more enjoyable for me is if I try to do it like super fast. So that's why like I get when people like they look at this and they're like, dude, he's not even having fun on the rides. But it's like, no, I am having fun. It's just that it's a different type of fun. It's not like fun in the sense that I'm like, oh, look at how cool this ride is. It's fun as in like, oh my god, look at how cool I just like skipped the line of this ride and the next ride. And it's a very specific type of fun. It's an acquired taste of fun. It's weird, but I love it.
But in this moment, I'm just glad that the ride is short, so we'll have just the right amount of time to ride Buzz Lightyear.
There's not really any commentary I can say for Buzz Lightyear. Like this was
and it's Buzz.
It was the last ride, and I did it. It took like 12 minutes. So
You ready to stop the timer? Right now. 8 hours, 52 minutes, and 22 seconds.
again, I want to emphasize, I was hoping to get under 10 hours, but I got under 9 hours. This was just so insane to me. It was just so crazy too, because like I said, when we were on Storybook, I genuinely thought it was over. Like I thought like, oh dude, I don't have a lightning lane for Indiana Jones. The return times are going to be way out. I'm not going to be able to get through the lightning lane rides as fast as I think. And I'm waiting like 20 minutes for Storybook right now when it's like 8 in the morning. Like, it's over. There's no there's no recovering from this. But I was able to recover from it, and I was able to get this incredible time. So I guess that just means if you're ever feeling discouraged during a speedrun, just keep going, because I promise you will get incredible luck in some other way that will like outweigh the bad luck that you got. Also, fun fact about all this, I stayed until the fireworks after that. I actually went back to my hotel and rested for a little bit, but then I went back for the fireworks, and then immediately after that I went and watched Fantasmic, and I think I was literally falling asleep during Fantasmic when I was watching that. I was so tired at the end of this, but I still somehow had the energy to watch like both nighttime shows at Disneyland, which is kind of funny because it means that I basically did just about everything that Disneyland has to offer in one day. With all that being said, that is the end of the video. I'm really proud of this project in general. I'm not even just talking about the speedrun, but just this project in general. It took me so long to edit this video, but I'm really proud of what turned out from it. Very proud of this video, and I'm really glad that a lot of people are really proud of it. I've gotten so many really nice comments. Thank you for that, because genuinely, like, this is what I'm inspired to make, these kinds of videos, because I know that not anyone else is making them for Disneyland, and I'm really happy that people are recognizing that. Thanks so much for watching this video. You can click here to actually watch this video in its entirety, and I'll see you in the next one.